So talking about challenges, let's get into introduction to PII tools. So, it's designed to be your comprehensive solution for managing and protecting sensitive data. We're trying to cut down on all of the, the burden of having all of the applications across the business. So some key points for us, I won't steal his thunder when he gets into the demonstration, but some key points for us were probably, real-time data discovery, automated compliance, advanced data redaction, seamless integration, a lot of connectors out of the box, very, very, good, robust API for us to be able to build things around as well. From, doing that seamless integration, you've got your ERP, you've got LMS, you've got databases, it's really enhancing that sort of that current infrastructure there. User-friendly interface was even a good draw card. I mean, how quickly can we get people in and up to speed? Not, oh, let's get into this for a few weeks. I mean, we have our clients working same day in these platforms now, connected and working same day into it. And scalability is big. So very often you're so decentralized in the way that the universities work. It's easy to get in a small department, but what happens if we do start getting into more departments and we're going across the entire university? We need to make sure that systems can scale. And PII tools is very, very easy to connect in and scale. And the fact that you've now got unlimited data processing, whether you've got one SQL server or 50, you connect and start processing very easily. So, how does PII tools address existing gaps? We spoke about the gaps. So, our clients, you've shared your frustration, with existing solutions. PII tools can directly address the common pain points we discussed earlier. So, complexity to manage, high costs of cost blowouts, performance issues, manual processes, integration challenges, and I've put a bit of a battle card together, just common systems, and again, we're not sort of never doing that thing where we're talking down at systems of where the issues are, but definitely where we want to do a comparison between them and look at where the gaps are and where we can potentially augment in to fill the gap on those solutions. Here's just a basic comparison. Again, to see, like most of the solutions, they've got great pedigree, and in most cases, the PII scanning, remediation, and a few other features were kind of add-ons. They'll build on top of that legacy tech, but with the amount of data growing, the quantity of systems and licensing costs are ballooning. I mean, we get anecdotal, hearing that from clients that licensing is getting outrageous with some of their outstanding existing tech. We've got to have some options. We've got to have an option where you can do best of breed using what you've got. They could be backup systems. Very often these were backup systems that added features. How do we augment that and go, yeah, use that for core, but how do we plug into that and take data and still be able to use that and scan and process and, automate that process. So, automation and accuracy is the key here. So we can maintain greater, which PII tools does, we can maintain greater than 99% accuracy, and we can remove manual tasks such as quarantine, remediation, redaction. We're going to remove a large operational cost from the business and potentially be able to use, again, we're plugged in best of breed for what we're doing. So, you're dealing with a lot of systems and services across the campuses. I know definitely if you're in the IT departments, I feel for you, what you need to do. So it's really important with all the data we can look to integrate, scan, and maintain as much as possible. So let's go through some of those. Like I don't have all of your systems up here. I'm sure you've got 50 others that you all need to maintain. But I think one of the key strengths of PII tools is its ability to seamlessly integrate with and enhance your existing systems. So, it makes it a versatile addition to data protection arsenals. So we're not saying we're in here to replace everything. You've got existing frameworks and tools, but how can we come in and potentially add more value or, sunset some legacy technology that you're trying to plug in to just get a single application working? We go, you know what, we could maybe sunset some of that. So whether you're using ERP systems, you've got Banner, PeopleSoft, LMS platforms like, Canvas and Blackboard, probably got 1,000 records keeping and document management systems out there and databases, the amount of SQL servers and probably Oracle and the rest. So PII Tools is designed to work with your existing stack. We've got a lot of logos on the side there. There's out-of-the-box connectors. And we also have a very, very comprehensive API. So we have the skill sets internally that we use and do a lot of work with our APIs where we can connect into more legacy tech and build connectors and be able to hit data stores and still be able to build some reporting around those systems. So it's cost effective, easy to deploy. I think we touched on before. So compared to other tools we've utilized, that the deployment process of getting these systems connected is very, very straightforward, which again you'll see shortly, but minimizing the time and resources required to get up and running. User friendly has to be. We've got to make sure your staff are can quickly adapt and start leveraging the capabilities. This is not we're going to invest and we'll see some great things in 6 months. This is, we'll start reporting, staff are in, getting trained, providing reports, risk management reports back to the business same day. So with that, I think I've absorbed all the oxygen for the last 20, 25 minutes. It's Radim's turn to jump on and do the fun part, which is, demonstration. So, and this is where we're towards the end here. So this, I'll say, it wasn't death by PowerPoint. He's going to show you probably over 10, 15 minutes, very high level. Please get into some Q&A. If you do have questions, put them in the Q&A. We'll get to them where we can. And if we don't get to all of them, we'll send them out there for you as well. So I think you'll be able to show, applications, integration, setup, reporting, and removing that immediate risk. So over to you, Radim. It's your show.
Yes, Shane, thanks so much. Hearing that accent always makes my day. So let's. So good morning to everyone. My name is Radim, and I'm the CTO and also the founder of PII Tools. And we're very happy. We love Umlaut. We love Shane because we took a different path in PII Tools. We don't focus so much on the services part, which is super important. But we don't do that. We're more of a technology company. So we took the path of, okay, so not just the policies, not just the enforcement of policies and internal surveys and questionnaires, but actually boots on the ground. So where is the data? What can we do with it? What technology can enable that? That's basically the mission of PII Tools. So we're a tech company, very happy to partner with Umlaut and other partners around the world to deliver this technology in all sorts of scenarios. Also forensics, by the way, which I won't get into today too much, but it's also a big chunk of what we do. Sort of roof is on fire, data got breached, who's involved, who needs to be notified, all that stuff. So Shane, thanks very much for the glowing review of PII Tools. Let me share my screen now, and hopefully, could you give me a thumbs up, Shane, if you can see it? Yeah, good to go. Perfect. So this is the dashboard of PII Tools, and I'll walk you through some of the features that Shane just discussed, just very high level. But I should start by saying that PII Tools is a self-hosted solution. This is an important point to many of our clients, meaning you're not sending your sensitive data to us, okay, to us as PII Tools, as the company. It's also the forensic angle that I just mentioned, but you install PII Tools, maybe Umlaut, they install PII Tools for you, but either way, it's completely self-hosted, air-gapped, if you like. Safe. You can still run PII Tools in the cloud. A lot of our customers from the education industry do. They use Azure or AWS to run the software on, but it's your infrastructure, not our infrastructure. The IT teams usually like that, but to be discussed. So this is the dashboard. Now, the starting point of the whole journey through PII Tools is discovery. I mentioned boots on the ground. So where is the actual data? What's inside the data? And from there, we can build the reporting and the remediations, which I'll show you next. But it's really about really understanding the data in detail, not just through these surveys or assessments. And we have a number of connectors. Shane, already you saw some of the logos there in the presentation, but out of the box, we have a number of them. I would say number one is still local servers, so file shares, employee laptops, staff or partners and so on, Windows, Mac, Linux. So all of that is covered, of course. And then a number of others. Office 365 is pretty big, the Microsoft world. So Exchange, emails, can do that. OneDrive, SharePoint, structured data as well. This is to Shane's point about having a single platform to cover the different data sources, different facets. So not just the Microsoft world, but if you keep data in Oracle or Postgres or in Amazon, PII tools can do that for you in one platform. So you can build the reports from a single unified inventory of scans, SQL Server, and so on. Let me keep it on the file system as an example, but the setup is very similar. So what I'm showing now is pointing PII tools to one data source, and then PII tools will go scan all of it. Again, scalable, just like Shane said. I would also add that we scan also archives. I know this is often important in this industry because there's this huge backup file. Somebody left and they left a PSD archive with all the emails they accumulated over 20 years. Nobody really knows what's inside, right? So PII tools will also scan zip, RAR, TAR, PSD, these kind of archives automatically. So that's step one, what to scan. Step two, that's the actual detector. So this is the heart of PII tools. This is the core of the system. And we use machine learning, who doesn't these days, but the advantage here is that it's more accurate. So we have these built-in detectors to look for all this financial information, national IDs, different regulations from around the world, medical data, security data, right? So all of this is already built in. And because we use machine learning, we're also able to analyze images, right? Maybe some of you may be familiar with OCR. So we have OCR as well. That's extracting text out of images, but we can also analyze the images themselves, really look at the pixels and see. Let me show you an example here. So maybe if your organization, if you keep files like this, so this is a JPEG image, picture of somebody's ID, right? Could be an email attachment or a file on a server somewhere. But basically this kind of file. And when I scan that with PII tools, it will immediately tell me that we found a profile picture, which is also protected information under many regulations. And we found the passport itself, the ID. Like really looking at the pixels. There's no way we could find a face doing a regex or a keyword search or something like that, more legacy technology. This is where the machine learning kicks in. So that's something I wanted to highlight because it's also important from the accuracy perspective. Just like Shane said, it enables the automation that comes afterwards. If you can be secure, confident that the results are accurate, then you can take automated actions for redaction and other things later on without as much human in the loop. Now I realize, Shane, you said 10 to 15 minutes, so I'll skip through some of the options, or I'll go slowly. If you like, you can pause.
You've got time. Yeah, it's only, we've still got 15 minutes, so we'll leave a little bit for Q&A at the end for maybe 5. So you've got show the bells and whistles. Ready?
The bells and whistles. Very good. Very good. Well, I'll try to keep it more high level, but I think what's also relevant here is if you have the same storage, we have incremental scanning built in. Some other solutions have it, some don't, but it really makes your life easier if you can go and scan the same server again or the same mailbox, and you say only scan the new or modified files. Much more actionable, much easier life. Scheduling is built in, so run the scan of this server automatically every week, for example. Very straightforward. And then the technical parameters, which I will not get into, but I'm the CTO, so this is my area, so I'll be very happy to, if anybody has questions in there, but I think it's not that essential. OCR is built in, that's the big one. So you don't need any external software if you have scanned documents, scanned PDFs, TIFFs, BMPs, PII tools will scan that, analyze that automatically. But let me skip ahead to the meat. What can you actually do with these results? So I would launch the scan, right? That's the setup. That takes me to the inventory dashboard. And this is the main place how you interact with all the data. And so all the databases that were scanned, emails, file devices, file servers. This is where all the fun happens. So one of the things you can do is say, show me all the places where we keep information on Mr. Erickson. for example. So I put that in the search bar. This is built in. And PII tools will give you a list of all the places that are relevant, that are about Mr. Erickson, right? So you'll see it in real time here. You can combine different filters. So again, maybe you're setting up for an audit. So you can say, okay, so where do we keep financial information? So I add another filter in addition to the previous one saying financial exists, just like this. I get it filtered down. You can narrow down the search, not just have all the data, all the terabytes in one place, but you can be very targeted, very surgical about the activity. We have classification built in. So show me just the high risk areas. So another filter for severity. Again, using machine learning for the determination. Very easily you can slice and dice all the inventory. So this is actually a big part of the workflow for many of our clients. So if you do need that, you can filter by who's the owner, when was the file created, modified, all these things. But what I wanted to also get to was the reporting as the step before remediation. We'll get to remediation next. I promise. Shane built it up a lot, so I want to show that as well. But for the reporting, we have a few different formats of how you can get the data out of PII tools. The reason why we have multiple is for different workflows. For risk assessment, so the more proactive side of discovery, it's probably the drill down that is the most useful. So how much data do we have? Where is it? More of an overview from the top level perspective. Some of the other reports are more detailed for integrations, connecting to other systems, maybe building your own reports. Umlaut have a lot of expertise in this area. They're really good with this sort of integrating different bits across the infrastructure. So the JSON maybe is a good format for that. Excel, some people like that. And then finally, affected persons and person cards. This is for subject access requests and for incident response investigations. I can show that as well. It can be very useful in some scenarios. So let me start with the drill down, just real quick. I want to be conscious of the time. We can come back to any of it if this is something you're interested in. So I'm downloading the drill down report now, which is more of an executive overview. This is not PII tool, this is local internet, so we can watch. And I'm not in Australia, so this is, there we go. So now it's downloaded, extracted. This is the drill down. So if you want just a summary of, okay, so how much data do we, how much trouble are we, where is the data? This is the summary. So how much personal information classified as critical, financial, national, these kind of graphs and tables, more of a bird eye view summary, and what kind of files they were, what type of PII was there inside, credit cards, and so on. The reason we call this drill down is this is interactive. So not just a PDF, but if you want to sit down and see, okay, so where are the 74 files that contain personal critical information? You can click on the number, gives you the exact locations. So where are these files? And if you like, you can even drill one level deeper and see specifically inside each file. So this was a PDF. It can be very specific and see, okay, so inside this PDF, what is it that PII tools identified? All right, we'll look for personal data, so we know names, addresses, financial information, so bank account was in there, and even down to the level of position. So again, very, very targeted. This is what powers the remediation, the redactions that come next. So we know where did we find that PII in the spreadsheet, which row, which column, if it's a PDF, which page, where was it on the page. It's quite comprehensive if you need to go to that level. Sometimes these sort of overview summaries are where it's at. So that was the drill down report. And let me switch to see if there are any. Oh, there's a few QAs. Shane, do you want me to address the questions afterwards?
Yeah, we'll do them in a couple of minutes. Why don't you just touch on the remediation for a couple of minutes, and then we can leave the last couple of minutes for some questions.
I'll finish the running. Apologies. Wait for the end, as they say. And I also wanted to show you person cards. So this is a different kind of report. Same data, but it's organized differently. So again, I will download the report. When I open that, when it downloads. And in this case, the report is a CSV. So I'll open it in Excel here, and it's different view, and it's very useful in the scenarios where you need information on each individual. Okay, so like I said, maybe breach incidents. Each row in this report is one person that PII tools identified in the data. So one person, one individual, and each column is something or everything we know on that person, all linked up together into a single row, right? So maybe let me give you an example. So for this person, we know their name, but we also know their email, their phone number. Maybe the phone number comes from an email. Maybe the social security number comes from a PDF in a completely different server, right? Maybe the bank account from a database somewhere else. So PII tools not only finds the PII information, it also links it up to individuals. And that's what you get here in the person cards report. You can probably already imagine how this can be maybe useful in some scenarios where you can get more holistic view on whose data do we keep and what information do we know on these individuals.
Especially at state levels, we're finding out now, Redeem, at state levels, you've got new laws coming in where individuals can effectively make the organization attest that they have been removed from all settings. So this is the way that we're using this now to go, okay, give me the 60 locations that the PII is in, and I can now grab it, quarantine it, get it out.
Exactly right. So we can come back to it in more detail. I realize we're rushing through the report a little bit, but just to whet your appetite here. So this is another kind of report that we call person cards, which gives you this person-centric view into the data rather than file-based by individual. So that's it for reporting, maybe for the high-level overview. But finally, to get to the redactions. So that's another feature of PII tools as part of the discovery journey. Okay, so we identified PII, maybe we did the reporting, we checked through analytics, we looked at it, but then often you also want to take action, and PII tools can help you with that as well. So we call that remediation, and we support a few different actions for the remediation. So the most popular probably is erase. So just nuke the files, get rid of them. Again, you can do this in bulk. So let's say I set up a filter, like all the critical items, they shouldn't be on this server. There's 75 objects here. So I want to remove all of them. Maybe they're on a device somewhere. Maybe it's in a mailbox, OneDrive, doesn't matter. PII tools will work over all these storages. So let's delete these 75 files. So destructive operation, careful. And for that reason, we also offer an option of what we call quarantine. So take the files first, copy them to a different location. Usually this is a central access restricted server where these files are copied, and then they're deleted from the original place. Right? Quarantine for legal hold, archival, additional review, can depends on the workflow. So that's the secure erase. Really easily, you can do this operation in bulk over huge quantities of data. So right now I have 75 in this demo instance, but it could be 75 million. If you have a lot of files, you can very easily take action across the whole inventory. So that's one option. And the other one that can be useful is more nuanced. So we call that redaction, or redact in place. So rather than delete the file, keep the file where it is, just redact the PII that we identified inside. Just pretty powerful, again, pretty amazing feature. And maybe let me show you actually an example how that works. It's best seen live. So this is an example of a document. There's no actual sensitive data here. This is our test file. So a PDF contains a name in here, an address, a few pieces of PII. So when I scan that file with PII, that's sort of step one, the discovery, it will identify all that PII automatically from that PDF, right? The names and the bank account number and so on. And now what I wanted to show you was the redaction. So you can say, give me the file with the PII redacted. Right? So the same PDF, but with the PII sort of blacked out, the way you see here. You redact the file, and PII tools is also able to upload this redacted version, basically replace the original. So for the cases where you want to keep the file, but just redact portions of it, the redaction is the feature. Again, you can do this in bulk. So if I go back to setting up a filter with the critical items, very easy to do. Yeah, that's the 75 that we already saw. And you can say all these 75 objects, go and redact them. Again, with a quarantine as an additional toggle. So keep the original somewhere safe, somewhere else, in case you need them, if you want, and then redact in the original location. And I realize I talk too much. I'm way past.
No, I think perfect. I think you did a good highlights reel.
Thanks. So just to summarize, PII tools is discovery tool. We call it tool because it's really the technology that we sell. We love partners like Umlaut who bring the extra bells and whistles and the services to it, but it's really technology. And what we focus on is discovery. That's the starting point of any operation. If you don't know what data you have, it's very difficult to do anything else. So discovery, reporting, and analytics, and then optionally also remediations on the other end of the pipeline. There's lots of other details, but I think for the high-level overview, Shane, let me hand it back to you.
Yeah, I think we've got people that have reached out and want to get their own demos live. So I think we can get to Q&A, which I do. Actually, here's one for you, Radim, is there any way to customize the color themes in the tool?
Color themes in the tool. That's a question I did not expect. So let me...
I know. It's a good one. I've got some others here that are technical for you. Don't worry. But,
okay, share my screen again.
You go.
Yes, it's not our focus, but yes. Specifically, we have this toggle for dark and light mode. So if this is for the hackers among you, if it burns your eyes, the white, you can switch to dark. But that's about as far as we go. It's, I mean, I'll be curious to hear the motivation for that. What are you looking for? But that's what we offer.
It's all right. I know who it is. I'll ask him after.
All right.
How does PII tools handle large volumes of data? What impact does it have on system performance?
That's a great question. Yeah, we get that often. So it also depends a little bit on where the data is. Okay, so if we're talking scanning Exchange Online, then we're scanning data that's effectively in the cloud on Microsoft servers. So no impact. Microsoft has, well, whatever Microsoft has, so no impact there. But presumably you're asking about the local file servers, the local storages devices. And their PII tools has also almost no impact because all the machine learning, like all the number crunching, the heavy lifting that's going on is happening on the PII tool server, not on the device. Okay, so it will not hog the CPU or the RAM of the device itself. The data is actually processed on the PII tool server.
We got another one. Can we customize PII tools to fit our specific data governance need, or is it only out of the box? Now, I can probably go to this one because I've got examples where I think we're talking about reports or filtering, maybe. So someone email me again if I got it wrong, but we do custom, we can do custom words, custom objects that we're looking for. This has come up a lot in research when you've got, code names or code words and you don't want IP leakage out of the business. We're able to do sort of those custom filters in PII tools and look for that as well, not just the standard ones that are in the drop down or out of the box. Let's see. Oh, well, it's a similar question. Here we go. What specific features does PII tools offer for managing sensitive information in a research environment? That's that. That would be that. That would be, we would have to, yes, you've got all your standard stuff you're doing, but if you have very, very specific information, keywords, database names, or things that you actually align this data to protect IP leakage, which is often we find, we would put those, get the list of those, and we would then create those in the system. So when we start running the scanning, we're effectively looking for other items as well.
Would add to that, this is a workflow that we see often with the research environments, because you don't want to pollute your models or your outputs, the analytics or whatever research you're doing with PII. It's especially relevant now in the world of LLM, where if you train on the wrong data, it can come up in unexpected places. It's a very valid use case. So this is also a use case that